Richard, thank you for joining us on Robins TV. We know you've been working behind the scenes since your announcement. How are you finding life at Bristol City?
Yeah, really good. Thanks very much. Yeah, the announcement was only about 4 or 5 weeks ago, but it seems a lot longer than that now. And no, clearly I've been working behind the scenes since that very moment. In truth, the day I was announced, I was at the under-23s game, final game at Ashton Gate, and then we need to make sure that we can have a seamless transition because it's an important time for the club. And so yeah, thrown into it, and it's been a lot of fun and a lot of good work.
You're back in the building now. How different is it to the club you left in 2005?
So different. Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that hasn't changed is the ambition of our fans. You know, because we as a club we have very high ambitions that we all want to live to. I think the position that we're in now is a much stronger position. Certainly with regards to the level of resource, management, facilities, quality of players. You know, we're fortunate to belong to a very vibrant club, which is well resourced, which has great ambitions, and we want to see those through.
Obviously, the stadium is much changed from when you were here, and personnel. Any familiar faces?
Yeah, no, there are a few familiar faces, which is good. You know, Steve Rawlings is still doing the catering. Marina, clearly, in terms of president. So no, it's really nice. Oh, and Lisa Fillingham. I need to mention Lisa, otherwise, yeah, I'll get into trouble. No, and that's been one of the nice things, that element of continuity, and of course Scott Murray and Tins. It's lovely to see some friendly faces.
Everyone welcome you back with open arms then?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate in that regard.
You grew up in a footballing family, so you know what Bristol City means. Are you encouraged by how much the fans are looking forward to next season and how many of them have actually renewed?
Yeah, I think the number that have renewed was 12,500, which for City is a really good number. And when you bear in mind that people haven't been able to come back into the ground for over a year now, that's an incredible level of support, which is not being taken for granted by any member of staff or any player. It's a huge vote of confidence, and it's also a challenge that we've got to go out there and deliver for all of our supporters.
We've had supporters for the Bristol Bears game at Ashton Gate, for the National League playoff final this last weekend. How important and how excited are you about having supporters back?
So much, because we've all seen games on telly in empty stadia. We've seen it on Robins TV. And the players have done a great job in terms of trying to persevere through those pretty alien circumstances. But I was there at Ashton Gate on Sunday for the playoff game, and there were 6,500 in there, but it sounded like 20,000. I couldn't work out whether everyone was just trying that bit harder to be noisy, or it's just something we haven't been used to before. And I think for the players, we just can't wait for the City fans to come back in and show their voice and be part of the club in a physical manner again.
So back to the day job, as it were. When you come into a role like this, what are your priorities? How do you go, right, this is the most important thing? Is it recruitment? Is it looking at staffing infrastructure? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, the common theme is the priority is always the people. I mean, we're so lucky we've got the new high performance centres, which is an amazing facility. And now we've got to make sure that people know how to get the most out of it. And we've got to get a really good, hard working ethic going, continuing from the hard work that I know that's been going on in previous years. Priority will always be with recruitment in terms of players, because having a lot of players have moved on since the end of last season. We've got some big gaps to fill. We've got a lot of business to do, and we know how we need to reshape things. So it's been really important for me to work with Nigel and also clearly our chairman, understand the priorities and get to work. And we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. It's quite a strange market out there at the moment with the impacts of coronavirus, as people are trying to understand what financial issues are going to be at hand and at play. But we've been extremely active, good that we've got, you know, 1 or 2 across the line, and we'll be hoping for that to continue in the next week or two.
We saw Andy Vyman sign last week. Any progress with any other signings?
Yeah, there's good progress, and you know, certainly we're expecting some good news this week, and thereon, I think in terms of timings, you know, we want to get good early business done. But as I said, the market is quite strange out there. There's a lot of hesitancy, and therefore, in terms of getting people to commit, or us understanding where the market value sits, takes a little bit of time. But I think, yeah, we've got some good early business. It's a good start.
Nigel's talked about potentially wanting 5 players to come in. Is that a realistic target for you? Who's having to do those deals?
Yeah, no, that's a very realistic target. You know, it depends at what cost those come in at. And you know, we've got budgets that we want to hold to, because that makes sure we've got the appropriate level of resource going in. And we're very fortunate with the support that we've got from the chairman and the owner. And we just want to make sure that every pound is really well spent, and every pound gets on the pitch and has a positive impact in us winning games. And that's where the juggling goes on. But no, we're on track. We will always want to be able to assemble the very best squad we can, and that takes quite a lot of work, takes quite a lot of recruitment effort, a lot of analysis, a lot of subjective thought. Everybody's got their own opinions, which is, you know, the beauty of our game, and all those opinions are welcome. But in the end, Nigel will be and has been extremely clear on what he wants, what he needs, and we're trying to deliver that.
How is the market at the moment? You know, talked about a bit of hesitancy. Is that from players? Is that from clubs? Is that how much players are worth? How much you're prepared to pay them?
Yeah, it's value in terms of what they're worth, both in terms of fees. Although, you know, only 15% of transfers end up being fees, most are free transfers. Therefore, the majority is wages and salaries. And the Championship, I think, particularly will be hard hit post-COVID. You know, because the Championship is the one league where everyone vying to get into the Premier League means that sometimes risks taken and budgets are bust in order to get clubs across the line. But also, when you look at where the money comes from for clubs in the Championship, the amount of media value is relatively small, certainly compared to a Premier League club. You know, media value is £7 to £8 million for a Championship club, compared to a minimum of 120 for a Premier League club. So most Championship clubs rely on attendances and fans coming in through the gates, and we haven't seen that for 12 months. And I think a lot of clubs are still trying to get their head around what that post-COVID hangover is going to mean for them. And therefore, yeah, people are trying to understand what the value is and what people can afford to pay.
What do you think it'll look like in terms of supporters this coming season? Have you had any indication?
Yeah, I think I'm really optimistic, and we've already seen the season card numbers, which are great. But I think in the year that we've just had, it's been a good opportunity to kind of reflect and decide, you know, what's important to us in our lives. And the common theme I'm seeing in not just in football but across the sports is that when you support a club like ours, then that's something that gives people you know, a lot of frustration at times, but a huge amount of joy. And a lot of involvement, and I'm anticipating, subject to crowds coming back in after the 19th of July, really, you know, bumper attendances. I think we're going to have a lot of people wanting to come and watch the club. I hope so, because, you know, we want to be striving in front of big crowds.
We've got a membership scheme launching in July. Yeah. Those kind of, you know, incentives for supporters will, you know, help them in terms of their, you know, supporting of the club, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. We need to find and make sure we've got lots of different ways that people can support. You know, a season card is the ideal, and, you know, people that can come regularly and want to come regularly. But we need to find other ways and have other ways in which, if people can't come, you know, every other week, they can still get involved with the club. And I think that's, you know, a club is a club is it's so important to people. It's clearly important to us, but we want to make sure that as many people as possible can feel part of our club. And so, having a range of different ways that people can actively get involved is really, really important for us.
I heard you talk just before you left, to Sky, about what a football club means. Can you just kind of articulate to our supporters, what you think a club should mean to people?
I don't think it's overly complicated. A club in its bigger sense is a place or a group of people that you want to belong to, and I think that's what we want to grow and harness. We're so lucky in that we've got great facilities at Ashton Gate. We've got a really good team that we can support and get behind. There are always going to be frustrations, in terms of performances, and that will always be the case. But we know we've got so much strong, positive goodwill within the City supporter base that it's really important to us. And frankly, we want to be able to deliver on the ambitions of our fans. That's my job. That's Nigel's job. We need to deliver on those ambitions.
Nigel's talked about success not being overnight. So based on your experience, you had 10 years at Surrey, you must have had a start point there and an end point. What are the components that will build success?
Yeah, we have to have we have to make sure that we've got the building blocks, and we've talked about Ashton Gate, we've talked about the High Performance Centre, and they are really important building blocks, because we have got the facilities in place that any professional in the world could come to and improve. We've got those physical elements in place. We also need to make sure that we've got the right people in place, and that means whether it's management, coaching support, medical, chief execs, we've all got to be clear about our roles. We've got to have the best people we can possibly have, and we've got to be pushing in the right direction. And ultimately, that is all then supporting the team, and we've got to have the right players. And that always takes time, because we'll be trying to develop our own players and coming up through the academy. We saw at the end of last season with some glimpses coming through, which was really promising. We need to make sure that they've got the right level of experience, players that they can work and learn from alongside. And we've got to make sure that our recruitment puts together a squad that can then compete for Premiership football, and that's what we want to be. And it's not easy now when you look at the financial elements, and you're effectively in most years competing for one slot, because often the other two are taken by previously Premier League teams that have got huge financial advantage, and we need to overcome that with, yes, the good resource that we've got, but also by doing things better, by working harder, by having a really cohesive unit both on and off the pitch. And that's what we'll be working towards, and that's where that's where the fans come into this as well. We love their support. We also very appreciative when we get feedback that things aren't going right, because that's helpful for us too, if it allows us to correct and improve.
That connection with the supporters, I think, has been difficult for all clubs.
Yeah.
How do we kind of keep them engaged? How do we really get them rallying behind us?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. But I think in the last 12 months, that has been achieved, not just by the content and the Robbins TV, but actually by our fans wanting to stay involved, in terms of, watching the streams, getting involved in social media. There's, people want to still be involved. And I'm just looking forward to when we can get people back through the gates and see them for the first time for a long time. And you know what? I think it'll be quite an emotional element. I think when we do get fans back and they're coming in, sitting in their normal seats or coming into it for the first time, perhaps it will be emotional for everybody. Certainly the first 2 to 3 games, I think people will really want to be there, and I'm expecting big demand for tickets.
Fixtures will be announced on Thursday.
Yes.
We'll see you again live on Robbins TV at 8:45 for that. prior to the season starting, we've got the friendly games against Portsmouth, MK Dons and Celtic.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think because of COVID, we can't have fans in, but we will be doing a streaming for them.
Yeah, we'll be doing streaming. Clearly, the pitch needs to be renovated, so we need a window for that, which is quite right. The pitch, by the way, I have to say, on Sunday was extraordinary, really good quality. Three of the friendly games certainly will be up at the High Performance Centre. It's pre the 19th of July, so COVID measures kick unfortunately. But yeah, we'll be doing a match pass for Robins TV, a discounted element, to make sure that we try and give everybody the best opportunity. And ideally, we can get another pre-season booked in, hopefully at Ashton Gate before the season starts. That's definitely our aim anyway at the moment. That's something that we're working on.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.